And I could go into a whole long story about how perception dictates our experience, but it does, and it can be very simply explained. Your perception becomes your experience. Simple example.
Yes.
I'm little me, I have no power. That mentality is going to live a little me powerless life. So the sum total of human society, what we call human society, it's just a projection of the perceptions of 7 odd billion people.
You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it. What if all you ever knew was a lie? Well, what do we know at any point? This Matrix scene is absolutely spot on. This isn't real. What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, taste, and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain. The senses are decoding systems, decoding information into a form that the brain can decode. So the senses are taking waveform information, vibrational information, they're turning into electrical information, they are communicating it to the brain, which then decodes that into a sense of reality we call the world we live in. So the world that we think we're living in exists there. The brain is dark but sees light. How is that possible? How can my brain be totally dark and I see this light? Because that light in its prime form, like everything else, is just an information source. And I'm decoding that information source in here into the visual reality of light, because that's what the information contains. Thus, that's what it manifests when I decode it. This is mainstream science. They talk about dark energy, dark matter. I see that slightly differently, but the principle's the same, what you can see and what you can't see. So you have this massive area of stuff they say exists in this universe, which we can't see. You then have light, electromagnetic spectrum, etc., which is 0.005% of what they say exists in this universe. And visible light, which is the only frequency band that we can decode into a visual reality, is a fraction of the 0.005%. This is the visible spectrum within the electromagnetic spectrum. Look at it, it's tiny. And that's all that we can see in what we call the world. You say to most people, can you see everything in the space you're looking at? Well, yeah, mate. You can't see that much. So this is right. There is no spoon. It's not the spoon that bends, it is only yourself. Because that spoon only exists in that form when you decode it from energetic information. Information is encoded in what we call light. White light contains all the colors of the spectrum, and colors are frequencies. They're just different frequencies, and when we decode them, we see that color. And we think those flowers are red and yellow. They're not. Nothing has any color. The color is decided in our perception of it.
I have seen a dramatic transformation, both in the numbers of people that want to look at the world in another way and see that maybe this official narrative is not exactly how it is or anything like it is. And not only that, the kind of people within the system, people that a few years ago you thought, well, they'd never be, in a position to think differently or question, but they are. There is a changing awareness going on that the world is not like they thought it was, and the system has told them from cradle since they were born to how things are. Because when you look at a human life, it is a download of the official version of everything. That's what it is. This is why vast numbers of people have no other filter for their view of reality, self, world events than the information they receive from the mainstream media and mainstream everything. You know, you come out of the womb and your parents who've been through the process that you're about to go through, the programming process, they start influencing your perceptions of reality. Overwhelmingly, the vast overwhelming majority, not because they're being malevolent, but they've been persuaded that their version of everything is true. Therefore, they're passing on to you because they think they're doing the best for you. You then go into what's called the education system. It's a perceptual programming operation. It's psychological warfare on the young. And from the age of 3, 4, right up through your formative years into your teenage years, day after day after day after day, you are being given the official version of everything. Official version of science, of medicine, of politics, of everything, all the way through your formative years. And it's what I call the postage stamp consensus. It's a very narrow band of possibility. I've understood more and more in the last few years has to be looked at before we can understand the true nature of what's going on in the world. And that's actually the true nature of reality and how we can control our own reality instead of having our reality dictated to us. I mean, you know, we think we are at the cutting edge of human knowledge and everything. And yet, if you stop someone in the street out there or in any other city in the world and you said to them, who are you? Where do you come from? Where are you going when this is over? And what is the nature of reality? And here we are living our lives every day in this world, and we don't even know what this world is. The few who are behind the people we see, they know what this world is, and they know how the mind works. They know how if you can control the way people think and perceive, you can completely control their lives. If I want to wave my hand about, my hand doesn't wave about. I have thought to wave my hand. So if you can control that level of people, then their behavior is completely controlled by you. I went through the last few years looking at this deeper level of this conspiracy, how we're manipulated to think and perceive the way that suits the agenda. And of course, even on a simple level, if you can get the vast majority of people to perceive the European Union as a good thing, to perceive that it is the only way forward, to perceive it is their safety, to perceive it's the way to secure them economically, they'll agree to join the European Union. There'll be no problem.